What are you looking at first for the market overview? Let me pull up.
I got everything. I mean, this tab's got it all. I got Bitcoin dominant. What do you want? What do you want to know?
Hang on a second. I want to know why my tab disappeared for CoinPaper.
You want to know where Satoshi's pissing right now? I can tell you right now. He's pissing. He's in Fiji. He's taking a leak right now.
Today is Friday, March 22nd, 2019, and this is Crypto Unqualified, where we bring you unique perspectives on everything happening in crypto. My name is Benjamin, and across the table from me is my co-host Nathan, who likes to disappear in puffs of smoke for fun.
I do. That's magic.
Yeah. This week's show is brought to you in part by SeattleCrypto.com, just like it is every single time we do the show.
So we've got, let's see, Bitcoin dominance at about 51%. We've got a market cap just under 140 billion, which we've kind of been teetering that line for, it seems like, a very long time.
Looking at the coin checkup top 10 for market cap, we've got Bitcoin, Ethereum, Ripple in order. Bitcoin, Ethereum, Ripple, Litecoin, EOS at number 5. Bitcoin Cash is actually, I don't know that it seems like it's up more on the list than it has been, but it's number 6. Binance Coin at number 7 out of the top 10, and we round off with Stellar, Tether, and Tron bringing up the rear. And Bitcoin is currently trading at 4,033.
Yeah, and just recently, Ontology skipped Neo, which was I thought was very interesting. I think jumped Neo to number 16 spot.
I have no input for Ontology. I still don't know anything about that project.
There's people out there that think that that Dehong Fei, the founder of Neo, is sort of jump train over to Ontology. There's mixed opinions on that. I don't know for sure what to say.
Is that like an offshoot of Neo, or is that like another project from Dehong Fei?
It's another project, I think. It's not Neo, nor is it on Neo, I don't think.
People give these guys a lot of crap for starting these projects like Neo or like Dan Larimer, did Steam, and then they start something else. These guys are serial entrepreneurs. They're constantly innovating, and people get real possessive of them, and they say, oh, they're abandoning the project and they've made their money and they're moving on to something else. And I don't hold the same opinion. Like if they're looking to iterate and improve on things, or if they've got ideas coming out the wazoo, like I'm sure they do. I mean, how many projects has Larimer started and successfully started that are still, top 5, especially on Volatility?
Yeah,
a lot, dude, and he's not done. So I don't give him crap or look at it as a negative for them moving to another project and focusing their attention on building something else. It's just that's where the space is right now.
The guy creates winners, Benjamin,
and they are winning.
Yeah.
You want to look at the Volatility? Or am I jumping the gun?
No, we can go to Volatility. So currently, Volatility, the top 3 are actually really they're Larimer projects. I mean, they're all delegated proof of stake cryptocurrencies. EOS is number 1, Wax is number 2, Telos is number 3. All leading back to Dan Larimer.
Yeah.
Tron is number 4. And BitShares, another Dan Larimer project, is number 5.
Man.
With Steam, another Dan Larimer project, at number 6.
This is what I'm talking about.
Followed by Bitcoin by no other than Satoshi Nakamoto.
Yeah. And if people weren't using these projects, they wouldn't be listed on Volatility. The proof is in the pudding.
Yes, it is.
Okay, moving over to the Bitcoin trading view higher time frame chart. I'm looking at the weekly chart for Bitcoin, and just to kind of get a sense of where we're at. And every time you look at a crypto chart, the saying is the next 48 hours are crucial, and they are every time. But notably, and I've seen this in other places, the volatility for Bitcoin price action over time, year over year, is falling. Price continues to go up, volatility continues to go down. So detractors though there may be, again, like we said, the proof is in the pudding. This thing it's stabilizing slowly, but for an asset that's only 10 years old, I think it's doing pretty well. And the weekly time frame kind of demonstrates that we're really at an inflection point. We've got continuously rising price over the past 5 weeks, with support building underneath right at around the $3,600 level. The price to beat right now is $4,200. That's not across every exchange, but looking at the Bitfinex chart, because there's some disparity in price between exchanges. So Bitstamp is generally lower than Bitfinex. All these different exchanges, they've got different prices. So some services kind of use a conglomerate of prices. They come up with an index price based on a bunch of different exchanges. But Finex has, I think, the highest volume, and that's the one that people really pay attention to the most.
Has the 50-day crossed over the 100-day moving average yet? Or are they still kind of
I don't
really
know.
Close?
I still don't use... I use an 841 cross. And what I mean by 841 cross is it's they're moving averages. Over the last 8 candles, you get an average price. And then over the last 41 price candles, you get an average price. So when we're talking about a cross, it's where the shorter time frame crosses the longer time frame, the higher time frame. And that's, it's, no matter how you look at it, it's a lagging indicator, but it's an indicator of trend. So when that shorter time frame crosses the higher time frame, then it's a signal. And whether it's bullish or bearish is for other people to determine. I'm not a financial advisor, so don't listen to what I say.
What about the weekly chart? What do the last 4 weeks look like as far as
they're climbing. The last 4 weeks on the Bitcoin price action has been really positive. It's been muted in the sense that there's not as much extreme volatility. There have been some really significant shakeouts where we've seen, on lower time frames, you'll see a spike up and then just a sell-off down, and then price continues as it was going. And that's 100% stop hunts. So people, they'll set their trades, right? And then they've got their threshold for, maximum pain. If the trade goes against them, they've got a stop loss set to take them out of that trade. People know that. And people with deep pockets will capitalize on those stop losses. So they'll set their order just a little bit above where the majority of stop losses are going to be. And they'll force price up until they hit those stops. And then people's, stop losses are triggered, forcing them to buy or sell, to take them out of that trade. And that goes right into either the bids or the asks of the whales,
right,
and fills them, and then they go on. So there's these convulsions on the smaller time frames that you don't really get a sense for when you're looking at the weekly chart. All you see is constant, steady, progressive rising and support building. Now, that's not to say that we can't see lower prices, but looking at the weekly chart, it looks positive. If we zoom in then to the daily chart, however, we're like I said, we're at an inflection point. We're at a decision point because that falling wedge on the daily scale that we've been following for, the better part of the last year, we're smack up against the top of it. So either we break out and confirm a breakout and start officially the next bull run, or we get rejected from this level and we would expect to see fresh lows somewhere around the $3,400 level to retest that lower support line.
So a couple weeks ago when we were trying to get the show up and running again, you and I were talking about how we thought March was going to be, the month where we thought Bitcoin at least was going to take off.
Yes.
And a lot of that was based on Fidelity's news of their custodial service for Bitcoin.
A lot of it was based off of fundamental news such as that. For me personally, it's based off of what I'm looking at in the charts, and it's not a certainty that we'll see the next bull run begin. But based on the indicators that I use, I've got different metrics for charting market cycles.
If we go through the 4,200, in your opinion, what's the next key level of resistance?
We would be, if we go through 4,200 on the weekly time frame, I would expect to see a retest of about $6,400, and I think it would happen really quickly.
Why that's such a? Explain to me why. I mean, we've for the last number of months we've been from 3,200 to 4,000. That's only $800. Explain to me why with 4,200 to 6,000 is over $1,000. Why is it so much bigger to get to that resistance, in your opinion?
Why is it so much bigger to get to that level, or why do I have that level targeted?
I guess, why do you think you could get there so fast when it's taken so long just to get to 4,000 from 3,200?
Okay, so if you look back, and this is again looking at weekly time frame for the Bitcoin price chart. If you look back to mid-November of last year, 2018, we went from about that same level, $6,400, down to $3,600 in the matter of 2 weeks. Right? Extreme volatility, just massive sell-off. And some of that was technical, some of that was, I think most of it was technical. And the markets move in a very emotional manner. People are emotional, and people will generally tend to do what other people are doing. So if you can trigger a sell-off and start hitting stop losses and get into the psyche of the composite trader that sell-offs will continue, then everybody starts selling, and you get that cascade effect. I look at it more in terms of a psychological barrier. This pattern that we've been trading through for the last year, over a year, that's basically defined the boundaries of our bear market. Once we break out, once we get a candle close confirming a breakout, break above, close above, and see that price action start to carry, we're out of this bear. And psychologically, people are going to get triggered and see, a FOMO opportunity. Like, I don't want to miss out on this. I'm closing my positions. I'm going to go long, that type of thing. So that's one component that makes me believe that we'll go quickly from our current levels to about 6,000. The other is looking at the volume of trades that have happened in the price range above us, and you'll see this if you see the chart. There's really not a whole lot of there's not a whole lot of resistance between where we are now and the $6,200-$6,300 level. So that FOMO combined with the technicals, combined with the fundamentals like Fidelity, all of that leads me to believe that if we were to break out, the resulting price action would be fun to watch. Hopefully.
I'd be ready for it.
Yeah. So that's my 2 bits. What's up with Fidelity?
Well, we know that Fidelity has launched a digital asset arm, and Fidelity is one of the major investment firms globally. I think they've got over $7 trillion in assets managed for people all over the world. I'm sure primarily in the U.S., but they're global. They've got what they're calling their digital asset arm, which is going to be a custodial holding for Bitcoin investors. So they'll actually be storing the Bitcoin for their investors in some sort of cold storage. But this is the most recent tweet here from one of the higher ups at Fidelity. It says, we are live with a select group of eligible clients and will continue rolling out slowly. Our solutions are focused on the needs of hedge funds, family offices, pensions, endowments, other institutional investors. More on our project. There's a Medium article you can go to. This was March 7th. And so it sounds like, they've got this available now to select clients. I don't know, who those select clients would be, but very exciting.
The curious thing about that is when they say, what did they say? Family business? What does it say? Family?
It says family offices.
What does that even mean?
I don't know.
Like, if I have my home office at home, are they selling to me?
I don't know. Is that another way of saying small business?
I guess so.
Pensions. I mean, the one that stands out to me here is pensions. There's a lot of pensions out there. I mean, I think,
yeah,
if 1% of every pension was in Bitcoin, I mean, and when they got $7 trillion in assets.
But is that so? Joe Sixpack can invest part of his pension in that. I mean, if so, that's probably not even available to him right now. What'll be interesting is when they open this up to fund managers and wealth managers to do for their customers, because Joe Sixpack isn't going to go jump through the hoops to do this.
Did you call him Joe Sixpack?
I think I did. Yeah.
Like as in abs or like a
no,
six-pack of
like
beer?
6-pack of beer.
Okay, just want to clarify that.
Given the option, most people would choose the beer.
This is looks like somebody tweeted here that's a fellow investment firm out here. Guy goes by the name, his Twitter handle is Nick Batia. He says, I cannot stress enough the follow-on effects of Fidelity's arrival. Bitcoin does not need Fidelity to become legitimate. Rather, Fidelity launched Bitcoin custodial services because Bitcoin has already achieved legitimacy.
Yeah, I would say that's accurate.
I would say both are right. I mean, it's going to make it more legitimate.
Yeah. And I'll see on Twitter all the time people say, all of the Bitcoin holders are expecting higher prices, but how are we going to get there without, institutional money? It's not there. Interest is drying up, et cetera, et cetera. And like, the fact of the matter is, crypto and Bitcoin, they're going to carry on regardless. Like, it's up to everybody else to figure out when they're going to get in, because the train's not waiting for anybody.
Everybody, I mean, shoot, dude, what news came out in the last week? I don't have these articles pulled up, but Visa just came out and they said they're hiring blockchain specialists. I read an article last night that Western Union is now basically saying they're ready to
capitulate,
change with the times. Yeah, they're ready to change with the times. Facebook, of course, is looking for cryptocurrency lawyers, blockchain engineers.
Yeah,
they've got their stable coin they're trying to launch.
None of these legacy companies would be doing this if their hand weren't forced.
No, I mean, look at JP Morgan. They tried to say Bitcoin was crap, and now JP Morgan has a stable coin.
Yeah, but that, I guarantee you, they were saying that as they were buying.
Sure,
the fear.
Sure.
Square is also hiring new crypto engineers, and it wants to pay them in Bitcoin. I saw this on Twitter, I think yesterday.
Yeah. Well, Jack Dorsey's a huge advocate of Bitcoin.
100% he is. And the intriguing part about this is that he says it's not going to be affiliated with Square. He said Square's taken a lot from the open source community to get us here, and we haven't given enough back. And this is a small way to give back, and that's aligned with our broader interests, a more accessible global financial system for the internet. And what they're doing is this, he's hiring a group of developers and UX designers to just do this, right? Yeah. Just Bitcoin integration, make it more available, make it more user-friendly, make it more attractive, and completely separate from Square. And all of that technology that they create is going to be open source. So that's him giving back because he believes in the system.
Right. Stellar has made some pretty significant moves. They rebranded. I don't know if you knew that.
I did not.
Yeah, they're no longer the little rocket. You'll pull it up and see it. It's a kind of a clean circle with two lines through it. So Stellar, for those of you that don't know out there, Stellar was basically one of the co-founders of Ripple. Jed McCaleb, he split off from Ripple to form Stellar. He was also the founder of Mt. Gox, and I don't know how deep he went into that, but so for whatever reason, Stellar has been teaming up with IBM on several projects over the last year. I think we talked about this last year, how IBM and Stellar were working on something back then. And now it looks like IBM is going to be using Stellar's blockchain to work with some banks around the world. Looks like there's, let me just read it. Excuse me, let me read this. It says, on Monday, March 18th, IBM announced that 6 international banks signed letters of intent to adopt IBM worldwide technology on their respective infrastructures. IBM WorldWire is a payment network developed by IBM based on the Stellar public blockchain that allows these banks to mobilize funds almost instantly and explore other financial services such as the creation of their own networks and even issuing native stablecoins.
In the last 20 years, the internet has shown that cultures have come closer together just by way of the efficiency of communication. So that's why cross-border payments is the key, because people from all around the world are now connected as buyers and sellers, as producers and consumers, and yet the payment systems of the world haven't caught up yet. The system today that supports the majority of international transactions is really based on a network infrastructure that hasn't really changed in more than 50 years. Well, IBM WorldWire will be a new type of transactional payment network that enables money to move more seamlessly, more quickly, more cost effectively to anywhere in the world. It is a network at its very core, provides a means for counterparties, that is to say for financial institutions acting on behalf of their beneficiaries, to signal to one another that they want to send money for some reason, and to be able to do all of the due diligence that's required to make sure that the money being sent is not being sent from any nefarious actor, and likewise the recipient is a legitimate entity. The novelty of WorldWire is that payment message instructions and the store of value, the actual money, move together as a sequence set of operations in a single transaction on a single network. That's pretty profound, because it's no longer about just making accounting entries, it's also about moving real monetary value in conjunction with those accounting entries. That's never happened before. That's something entirely new. Ultimately, we hope to see a global financial network that represents a real-time facility for moving money from anywhere to anywhere, where foreign exchange is just an inherent part of the process that happens automatically. The thing that is most exciting in this space, having been a banker for 18 years, just like the internet was a paradigm shift in connecting people and communications, this is an equally transformational paradigm shift. To be a part of that and then changing the world is very cool.
Cool.
So let's see, what else do we got? We got UPS has collaborated with a company called Inception for a blockchain e-commerce platform. Looks like UPS, one of the world's largest package delivery firms, is collaborating with this blockchain to develop a platform that will make business-to-business e-commerce easier for merchants. The new platform will be called Zippy.
Zippy.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, so we decided we were going to start doing a section of our show. Well, not a section. What's the word? Not a
segment?
A segment. Yeah, we're going to start doing a segment of our show. We're going to call it Crypto Spotlight. We're going to pick one crypto project and talk about it a little bit. And today we've chosen Telos.
Oh, God, not yet.
No. Nope.
I just don't. I mean,
yeah.
As much as I'm involved in what Telos is doing, just topically, God, I always feel like undereducated about. I mean, things in the blockchain space move so fast. And Telos. Okay, since we're already going down that rabbit hole, Telos is a sister chain of the EOS IO network, the EOS software, and what they've aimed to do, and I think that we've talked about Telos a couple of different times in the past, but what Telos is aiming to do is to more equitably distribute governance and value across their blockchain. So they're basically a hybrid of the EOS network. They tried really hard to eliminate manipulation and whales.
Yeah, they basically got rid of like over 65% of the coins, right? Because they
Yeah.
were owned. Because they were owned. They let no one person own more than a certain percentage, so there couldn't be a whale.
Yeah,
with the tokens.
The cap was, so if all of the token balances currently held in EOS then had a token balance in Telos, but they capped it at 40,000 tokens. So that impacted less than 1%, if I recall, of all of the wallet addresses, but it eliminated a massive supply. So they just like carved off all of the whales and capped everyone at a maximum, at least initially, of 40,000 Telos.
Because it's delegated proof of stake, which means that if you own that much Telos, you could vote for said producer, like said block producer.
Yeah, I mean, it unfairly, at least with the way that EOS has voting set up, all these whale accounts can just vote for their block producer or themselves by proxy, and get the top 21 block producer spots. What Telos did was they inverted the weight of voting. So they said that, first of all, the more people you vote for, the more weight your vote carries. So if you're a scammer and you want to become a block producer for the Telos network, you have your BP candidate, you've got your maximum 40,000 tokens or however many you've got, you only vote for yourself. That vote is like a feather compared to somebody else who possibly has less token balance, but they vote for a wide variety of different block producers, geographically distributed, or however they deem those votes to be worthwhile. But anyway, the weight is inverted. So the more people you vote for, the more weight those votes carry.
Now, and what comes along with voting as well, if you are voting, they in turn will get a reward, right? I mean, they get tokens for the votes. Is that wrong? Right? I mean,
no. You mean, so if I vote, then I get tokens for voting?
The person you vote for.
If they become a block producer, yeah, they get block producer rewards. And the whole reward structure for block producers with Telos is really, it's a lot different than EOS. Block producer candidates and block producers, they all have to meet really specific criteria, show that they're meeting the criteria. It's really well defined, what's required, what's expected of a block producer. And then there's block producer backups that also have to meet really specific requirements, and they are tested, I believe, weekly. They get rotated in, whereas a similar block producer backup in the EOS network, if a block producer misses a couple blocks and it goes to a backup, there's no checks and balances to make sure that guy's ready. So there could be lots of different failures in that system. So what Telos did is they said, okay, if you want to be a backup, we need to know that you're battle tested, that when you get called up to the show, that you can do what's expected. So every week you're going to get rotated in, and you need to prove that you're capable.
Right.
And so the backup BPs get compensated to a lesser degree. And off the top of my head, I don't know what that is, but that's, they're really working to innovate on what the EOS network started. And it comes out of a place of just excitement for blockchain and a bit of frustration with how things were going with EOS, both in terms of the voting and the governance and just like how the network is built in general. So as a result, and you can see just right on the main page of the Telos Foundation, and this is at telosfoundation.io, the distribution of token ownership is one of the most distributed of any major blockchain. And coming along with that, because they eliminated all the whales and the way that they have their network set up, a Telos token offers a dApp developer 3 times the network resources of what they would get on EOS. So, and it comes in large part because there are so many less tokens and the network is so fast and lots of other reasons, a dApp developer can launch a product on Telos for fractions of what it would cost to launch the same product on EOS. And the two are interchangeable. I mean, they're not interchangeable, but they're it's the same. They're not a separate chain. It's a sister chain.
Same software,
yeah,
same
so
code.
There's full interoperability between Telos and EOS. So there's really very little downside to launching a product on Telos rather than doing it on EOS. Actually, in my view, I think it'd be foolish, especially for a startup company looking to launch an application using the EOS IO software to not do it on Telos.
Especially now, because it's not like neither one of the names is like,
It's not a household name.
It's not adopted, so to speak, yet. At least not as far as the real, the big world's concerned.
Yeah. Not yet. But if you look at Blocktivity, like we're talking about with all the Dan Larimer projects, people who are using blockchain technology are using EOS massively, like orders of magnitude more than Bitcoin. And I mean, EOS number one on Blocktivity, Wax, which is a side chain, number two, Telos currently number three, sister chain. So I mean, Sorry, I know it's okay. I would rant about all of this stuff.
I was just gonna say, it brings me back to what we were talking about earlier when we were reading that Wax, Telos, and EOS make up 80% of all blockchain activity in the last month.
And that's massive.
That's crazy. I mean,
and I feel
Bitcoin
like
is in there too. So think about that. 80% of all the blockchain activity.
Yeah. And I feel like it's just a matter of time before that fundamental information starts to seep into the common knowledge of the people that are investing in these things. So from an investment perspective, from a trader's perspective, from my perspective, the potential return on investment in supporting something like Telos is massive. When you look at the price of what Telos is currently trading at now, which is 6 cents, almost 7 cents, compared to what EOS is currently trading at, which last time I checked was somewhere around $3. So if you spend 70 EOS and buy Telos with it, you would get 3,500 Telos.
You know what it's going to take, in my opinion? I mean, it's going to take not just for Telos and EOS, but Tron, arguably all of these blocks. It's going to take that one dApp that's getting real world use that people know, that becomes adopted and used by a lot of people.
And everybody talks about that. Everybody talks about the killer app.
Right now it's just gambling apps and game apps, which are great. Gaming apps, that could be it. It could be just that one big game app, or I call them apps. People call them dApps, decentralized apps. I don't really care.
Yeah, because they're on a blockchain doesn't mean they're decentralized necessarily, but that's the vernacular. And
I think people love the term dApp because they, there's like, it's decentralized, it's blockchain, it's cryptocurrency. It's got to be a dApp. It's not an app. Yeah. So, and I don't have a strong opinion either way. So I think they're both right.
Yeah. EOS is currently trading at $3.68 on Bitfinex.
And do we know what Telos is at?
Yeah, 6 cents, almost 7.
Wow.
Yeah,
man,
severely undervalued.
I need to buy me some more Telos.
They're not proven, but I've been following Douglas Horn and the Telos Foundation and all the people that are working on this network, and they are extremely smart. They're extremely motivated. And
we met him when we went to the blockchain conference in Seattle last year.
Blockchain Northwest. This was back when they were gunning to be a block producer. They were a block producer candidate for EOS at the time, and didn't make the cut in large part because all the whales voted themselves in.
Right.
But then so they are, and we talked about this previously. They're still active in the space. They're still really eager to further the technology. And the next logical conclusion was launch their own sister chain. and try to take all of these things that they saw were stumbling blocks for the EOS network and improve on them, and then iterate, and that's what they've done.
So that was our crypto spotlight for the day. Do you have anything else you want to add to that?
Just keep an eye out on Twitter and on the telosfoundation.io for more information. I expect really good things going to be coming from this project.
All right. So Benjamin, we're going to wrap up with our joke of the day. Let me know when you're ready. This is you're going to laugh so hard.
I love how you're building this up. I love letting people down from elevated positions of expectation.
Benjamin, why won't the government embrace Bitcoin?
Because reasons? Why?
Because they hate the idea of proof of work. Get it? Because they don't work? Like they don't work. They don't have to prove they work? No?
That was great.
Yeah.
You got more?
No.
Thank God.
No, I don't.
That was the show for the week, everybody. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Crypto Unqualified. If you like the show, tell somebody else about it. If you have comments or suggestions for things that you would like to hear us delve into, you can reach out to us on Twitter.
At Crypto Kahuna.
And I'm at Crypto Light Show. Did I tell you I changed my Twitter handle?
To what?
Crypto Light Show.
No.
Yeah.
You'll have to explain to me where you came up with that.
I just wanted crypto in there somewhere.
Yeah.
So what I really wanted for my Twitter handle was Ninja Benja. That's pretty much where I'm at everywhere.
Yeah.
Across the internet. But some jerk who likes gaming captured Ninja Benja, and I'll be damned if I'm going to pay for it.
Yeah.
So I changed it to Crypto Light Show. It kind of rhymes. I was jealous of Crypto Kahuna.
I like
it. That's what it boils down to.
I like it.
So hit me up on Twitter, and you can find all of our past shows in the Crypto Unqualified archive directly from seattlecrypto.com. I'm Benjamin.
That's the show for today.
Who are you again?
I'm Nathan.
And I'm Benjamin.
And that is the show.
Crypto Unqualified.